makes, fellas. What a difference 286 days makes. It was just 286 days ago that Lamar Jackson was at the NFL Awards, stood there, and became that second unanimous MVP. He's the only player in the history of the NFL to throw for 3,000 yards in a season and rush for 1,000. Sure, he hasn't won a playoff game, but bright lights were there and everybody thought the best was yet to come. Maybe, though, we underestimated some things, including Lamar yesterday on the Rich Eisen show on PeacockTV.com, essentially saying, yes, maybe defenses have figured me out to an extent, but it's not for the reason you think.
When we're going against defenses, they calling out our plays, stuff like that. Like, they know what we're doing. So a lot of that, sometimes, stuff won't go our way if they beat us to the punch.
So you're hearing on the other side of the line of scrimmage the defense calling out your plays? That's what
they definitely do. Like runs, stuff like that. Watch out for this, watch out for that. Sometimes that's what's going on.
Okay, Bart, so let's get your opinion on this. A lot of people, including Keyshawn, who will be back tomorrow, essentially had said, he just hasn't improved enough in the passing game, which has generally been a criticism of him. But we should also mention that maybe what Lamar said has some validity to it. As I mentioned before, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless.
Well, both can be right, correct? I want to take people back and kind of explain to them what this offense is. This offense is basically the Wildcat with a quarterback who can throw. And remember when the Wildcat came on and Ronnie Brown went back there and they played the Patriots and they dominated them and they dominated the league?
Yeah.
And then who did they play in the playoffs? They played the Baltimore Ravens with Chad Pennington and we destroyed it, right? Because what happened is these defensive coordinators are so smart. And what happens is, people talk about analytics and how they're taking over sports, but analytics has always been a part of it, right? And how you figure these type of things out, you go with personnel groupings. And what happens is you say, they run the power play when they have 42 in the fullback. They run this when they have 3 tight ends. They break it down and they're able to put it into segments. These are the plays we get out of this personnel grouping. This is what we get when we have this running back at tailback, Dobbins versus Mark Ingram. This is what we get when we have 2 receivers on the field. And where the Ravens have failed Lamar Jackson is that they haven't surrounded him with guys who can win one-on-one at the receiver position. I mean, he's only has 2 touchdowns to receivers this year. Everything else is to Andrews. He can't be your number one guy. They haven't said Willie Snead. I love him, but Willie Snead was the 5th receiver for Drew Brees. I said this a couple of weeks ago, on Get Up. I said they have to make a big move to get somebody that can win at the line of scrimmage. Hollywood Brown is a good young player, but he's not a number one. Where's Hollywood Brown a number one on any other team? Right,
he's the number one tweeter, though.
Yeah,
he tweets after the games.
And he's frustrated as well.
Yep.
So they lost their leadership in Marshall Yanda, a guy who was really helping them on the interior runs, a Hall of Fame player. Ronnie Staley goes down. They have to make Orlando Brown Jr. their left tackle. So now those holes aren't as big, and people are understanding when Lamar gets in there and they get in these certain personnel groupings, this is what we get. So you think about, the Ravens added the strength. They made a strength for strength. They go out there, go get Yannick. They already had Judon. They had Marcus. They had Jimmy Smith and they had Marlon Humphreys. They went out and got Peters and traded for him. So they continue to add on to the offense, to the defense, but they haven't improved the offense. So then Lamar Jackson's thrown into tight windows and guys can't separate because they can't win at the line of scrimmage. So both can be true. They're figuring their plays out, but the great teams, they know your plays. You don't think they know what Mahomes is going to do? But he has the players that can do it. It's easy when you know what run is happening because you can change the math on a run play. It's hard to change the math when you're on an island with receivers, great receivers down the field. Nobody can help you.
This sounds to me like the notion of a bad team. Now, I know they're 6-2. I know they're second in the division, but this is why I don't have this team having a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Because what happens is, it was only a couple weeks ago, I remember Coach Harbaugh saying, hey, we're empowering Lamar to be more creative. We're empowering him to be more optional at the line of scrimmage as far as calling audibles and being creative with the offense. And now I hear Lamar on Rich Eisen's show airing out dirty laundry, pretty much saying, hey, Coach Harbaugh, hey, Greg Roman, offensive coordinator, like, you guys aren't helping me. You're not surrounding me with the pieces to do so.
Right.
And when you have your quarterback saying things publicly, calling out your head coach and your offensive coordinator, but then you have your head coach saying, hey, almost in a way, this is kind of on Lamar because we're empowering him to be creative. What kind of sign is that? That's a sign of a team that is going in 20 different directions.
Yeah.
And then you talk about Hollywood Brown, I mean, he's going on Twitter after games,
I need
airing out
targets.
his dirty laundry. That's not the sign of a team that's acting as a unit where they're communicating those things internally. That sounds like a team that is spread in a ton of different ways and can't work in unison.
Well, they're starting to feel the pressure, right? Because, listen, there are expectations there, right? You go out and you go get another elite pass rusher, with a draft, from Minnesota mid-season. Those are moves that usually are made to win. But when you look at the fact that they haven't helped Lamar, they bring in Calais Campbell, they bring in Derek Roof, Yannick Ngakoue. You go bring back Chuck Clark. You pay Marlon Humphreys. You bring in Maffei. Like, all this is defense. Mm-hmm. Where's my difference makers? You put all this equity in our team because teams are built up on the salary cap. All the salary cap money is on the defensive side of the ball. So then when I don't have productivity, it sounds like a team that wants to win defensively, not win offensively. They could have went out and tried to make a move for Julio. They could have went out and tried to get A.J. Green. Give them somebody that's a difference maker. You know who they got? They got a 32-year-old with a bad Achilles. Where they do that at? Throw up the X for Dez Bryant. Like, come on, man. Dez Bryant has been in the league for 3 years. That's the move that you give me to try and help me to take it to the next level? Like, it's not winning football. And listen, I love Eric DeCosta. I know what he's all about, but he put too much equity in his defense. Defense doesn't win championships in today's modern game. You have to have the ability to light up the scoreboard. If this team falls behind, like they fell behind in the previous two playoffs against the Chargers, against the Titans, you can't come back when you're pushing the ball down the field to your tight ends.
Also, how many times does Lamar Jackson need to ask for Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
I mean, asking for him, essentially.
He was there. He was cheap. He worked out with him.
Like, please give us somebody. Give me somebody like
something. Give me a difference maker.
Fair enough. Eric DeCosta is the Ravens' new general manager. If you're wondering, Baltimore, New England, Lamar and Cam on Sunday Night Football. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract.
What's your
no
QB rating for that one?
We'll see. TV rating, pretty good. QB rating might be a little